Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a story time of the time my teacher harassed me. So if you want to know the tea, please keep on watching. Alright guys, so just a little bit of background information. I had gone to a private nun school and I transferred schools to the only other middle school there was. I had been there for about a year and a half and our history teacher took a leave of absence. So they found a sub, came to our school, and he was super nice and stuff, you know, just because he doesn't know the curriculum, he doesn't know what we're supposed to be doing, so it was kind of just like almost free time. The lessons would be super short. He was actually from the state, which is Guadalajara, Jalisco, which is around 8 hours on bus to where we were, so the little town where we were. I remember this whole team had taken over the school, like a new principal, new secretaries, a couple of new teachers, and they brought him in from the city. And at the beginning it was super normal. I remember the first day, I want to say he was in his like mid-30s, and I remember he's like, okay, everyone take a seat. Introducing himself, I'm not going to say his name. And he's like, you guys can move your desk to wherever you'd like. I'm like, yeah, like my girlfriends, let's go and sit with them, you know. And I grab my desk and I'm like slowly dragging it. It was super heavy. And then he comes over and he grabs it. He's like, where do you want this? And I was like, oh, just like by my friends. And he moved it. And I was like, all right, like, thank you. And my friends were like, oh, that was nice. I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. He's like, everyone's gonna introduce themselves, so you know, he got to me. I was like, hi, I'm Nayeli. If you need anything, just let me know, blah blah blah. He's like, okay, thank you. So I started noticing that he was calling on me more. So anytime he would make a question and I like raise my hand, I was his first pick all the time. If he needed something from the office, if he needed copies, if he needed anything, he's like, Nayeli, could you please go and get me this from the office? Could you please go and get 200 copies? So at the beginning, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I just wanted to be really helpful. One day, his lesson was super short. And obviously he didn't know what he was doing, so it was like super quick. And I think they gave us around 45 minutes to an hour with him. It was history. And he's like, would you guys like to go see the agriculture center? And we're like, yeah. So in that middle school, we had pods. It was A, B, and C if you were in agriculture. If you were in B, you were in cooking. And if you were in C, you were secretary typewriter. So I was in B, and so we were kind of fascinated by going and seeing others, you know, the other center, the other pod. And he's like, just go, let's all go outside and we're gonna walk to the agriculture center. And I was like, okay. So we all go outside and he's like walking with me and my friends. At the time we were like a posse around 6. He's like, oh girls, that's so funny, like getting into our conversation, ha ha ha. My friends was like, Nayeli, tell him that you know English. And I was like, no, like that's embarrassing. And then he's like, you know English? And I was like, yeah. And then he's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I was like, it's all right. And he's like, oh, he's like, I know a little bit of English myself. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he looks over at me and he's like, you are the most beautiful girl in the world. And I was like, oh, F. And then my friends started giggling, you know, because they didn't know what was being said. They're just like, wow, like, ay, profe, cálmese. An awkward laugh, you know. And then that's when it all kind of just like made sense to me. I was like, okay, he's kind of bothering me. I noticed now how much he actually favored me. But I till that moment, like my eyes were shut. And then he just said that and it was like, bam, it's all here. Like, why have you not noticed this before? I don't know. Time goes on and I try to avoid him as much as possible, you know, but I really like to get good grades, even though history is not my strongest. I was just going to class, but now I would sit with my girlfriends, but I would always make one of the boys sit with me because I was just so uncomfortable. One day we had a test and I was like, okay. So he's like, I'm going to move you into different spots so you guys can't copy off of each other. And everyone's like, oh, okay, that's fine. Like, that's normal. And then he, like, starts moving 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids. And he gets to me. And I was like, okay, he's going to move me. He grabs my desk and he drags it right in front of his desk. I remember when the test started, I looked back and he had, like, almost shifted the whole classroom, like, to my left. And I was facing that way. So I was facing him, but his desk, let's say it was like this. He was on this side, like where I am. And then I was in front of him to the right, but we were almost like facing each other. He's like, okay, I'm going to start passing out the test. He starts passing out the test. He gives me the test and I was like, okay, he's not going to be able to bother me because everyone needs to shut up and we're all just going to do this test. His bag in the middle of me and him, and he took out a sheet of, like, a folder, and then he, like, slowly slid a sheet of paper in front of me. And I was like, and I kind of looked up, and he had given me the answer key to the test. For him to just give me a key, I was like, I'm not, like, dumb. Like, does he think I'm stupid? Like, I don't know these things? Or was this, like, just escalating to a whole new level? I promise you, I didn't look up at that sheet of paper, not once. When we were done, we handed it in, and he's like, everyone go outside. He's like, and I'll call you back in once I'm done grading. If I'm grading and then I need to talk to you, I'll call you in. I wasn't the first one on the stack, obviously, because I was right there, so I handed it to him right away. I was one of the last ones, and he started testing them all, and everyone that was slowly going in, you know, one by one, and he reached me, and he's like, Nayeli, he looks at me, he's like, you got an 80 on the test. And I was like, okay, that's fine. He's like, why did you get an 80 if I gave you the answer key? And I was like, because I didn't look at it. I didn't use it. He's like, why? He's like, you should have used it. I gave it to you. He was like so mad at me, and I was like, no, like, I didn't use it, and I got an 80, and that's it. There is where I dreaded going to his class. I just hated his class. I hated being in it, and he was always, like, looking at me and talking to me and like, right, like, in my space, you know, and I was just very uncomfortable. He had been talking about me to the boys, and the boys were, like, really cool to me, so they would tell me what he would say, which are disgusting things. I didn't tell my mom, which I now regret so badly, because she would have fought more for me than what I fought for myself, you know? I was scared, and I was in 9th grade, and he has power, and he's my teacher, and what are people gonna say in a small town like that? And I was just overwhelmed and scared, and I didn't know what to do. And sometimes with this new team coming in, you know, taking over this school, I didn't know the principal that well. I didn't trust her. I didn't, like, everyone that I did trust, like, was slowly, like, leaving. And then my actual history teacher, he was my go-to person if I had a problem, if someone was bothering me, if I just, like, you know, if something was going on, I'd be like, hey, this is going on, and I feel really uncomfortable, and he'd help me out. And, like, I didn't know anyone else, like, that I trusted that much to tell them, hey, like, this teacher is harassing me, and he's, like, talking about me to the kids and to the guys, and that's gross. I went to the principal that morning, and I was like, hey, this is what's going on in my class, and he's doing this, and he gave me the answer key to a test, and he's, like, talking about me to the boys, and the boys are telling me what he's saying, and it's disgusting. I'm not comfortable going into his class anymore. Can you just address the situation? But I don't want to be here when you do that. And this lady, she looks at me, she's like, no, we're going to address this situation right now, and you are going to be in here. And I was like, oh, no, like, listen to what I'm saying, lady. Like, I don't feel comfortable, and you're, like, trying to face me with him, and I'm trusting you to do something. And then he, like, walks in, and he lifts his head, and he sees me, and his eyes just got big. And she's like, she's telling me that you have favored her, and you were, you know, saying these things about her, and you have given her answer keys to tests, and la la la. And she's like, is this true? And he's like, no. He's like, this is not true. She's like, I might have given her one answer. She's like, he said, but I've been giving everyone in the classroom, like, help. So if they ask me, I'm kind of giving them the answer. He's like, I'm not just favoriting her. And I was like, you liar. I didn't say that, but I wanted to, but I was scared. And then I was like, no, that's not true. I was like, you gave me a whole answer key. He's like, no, I didn't. He's like, you weren't even near me when you took the test. And I was like, I have witnesses that saw me and that saw you put my desk in front of yours. And he's like, no. He's like, this is a lie. And then the principal is just, like, doing nothing. And then she's like, okay, you can, like, go back to class, you know, him. So he leaves, and then she's like, oh, well, I'm so proud of you that you didn't take that answer key, because he would have felt like he had more power over you. And I'm like, so what are you gonna do, you know? And after that, guys, I'm not even kidding, all of the girls that had been harassed in that middle school, they all just came out. I never saw him again, and I'm thankful I never saw him again, you know. And I'm kind of upset that I didn't tell my mom, because I was living just with my mom at the time. But I just wish I could have told her. And I trust my mom. I tell her everything. But that, to me, was just one of the scariest things in my life. It's not like every day you're being harassed, you know, and I hate that we as women have to go through this stuff, and I hate how they didn't punish him for what he was doing, not only to me, but to all these girls that were going to school. You know, if it's one problem, you might sweep it under the rug. I get it. But when there's like 20 girls in the school telling you that he is making them uncomfortable, so disgusting, and talking about them and talking about us, and you know, and my advice to you guys, if you are going through this, tell your parents. I know it's scary and I know that it's overwhelming, but no one will fight harder for you than the people that brought you into this world, or that are raising you if you're adopted, or, you know, the people that are your caregivers. So if this is happening to you, please speak up, talk to somebody, talk to your parents. I'm going to end my video here, guys, just because I'm getting a little, you know, in the feels. But if you can relate to this story time, or if you've been through this, or if you're going through it now, or if you just like my video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and let me know in the comment section below if story times are something that you guys would like to see more often. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.